Possibly the most French thing ever created is Eric Rohmer's first series of movies, The Six Moral Tales. I've never so much wanted a big bowl of French coffee as when watching My Night at Maud's, or wanted an apricot tart so much as watching The Bakery Girl of Monceau. Rohmer, even when he had no budget, could capture locations beautifully. The Bakery Girl of Monceau and Suzanne's career really make you want to hang out in 1960s Paris. Though My Night at Maud's mostly takes place in wintry, cramped apartments, they are real cramped apartments, and when they step outside, you're reminded of how beautiful a French city can be. There's a time and place for fantasy. I mean, if you want to believe that Monica and Rachel on Friends can have a Manhattan apartment that nice, well, I can't fault you. I like the outsized hotel rooms in Fred and Ginger movies. But there's something equally comforting in seeing a cold little French apartment that is so close to reality. And the most French element of all in Rohmer's movies is discussion. I said in an earlier review that I find the street French in Luc Besson's Subway refreshing.
J'ai vu ce matin, il m'a vendu son costard, c'est tout.
Dialogue-wise, Rohmer is the absolute opposite end of the spectrum. Everybody speaks too intelligently and too introspectively to be a normal human being, yet they are all so realistically French. In America, we've got this idiom: you should never talk about religion or politics over dinner. We don't even mention sex in that idiom. That's probably the most American thing about it. Well, French people will talk about everything: religion, politics, sex, philosophy, art, and not just at cocktail parties. I mean like on the beach, or taking a hike, or delivering bread during your workday. Talking is an art form in France. You are expected to learn to do it. And if there's one thing Rohmer's characters do, it's talk. They stay up all night talking about morality. They talk about novels. They talk about kissing. And when they actually get around to kissing, you're kind of surprised. And this is true for the characters as well as for the audience. His protagonists live in a constant state of epiphany. Characters are always being surprised that the thing that they've been chasing is not what they thought, or maybe the thing doesn't exist. In Suzanne's career, for example, the narrator has an odd relationship with Suzanne, the girl that his best friend seduces. A best friend that the narrator despises for good reasons. The narrator pities her, and at the end of the film, Suzanne shows up in love and happy with a random guy whom we glimpsed earlier at a party. The narrator is in a relationship with this super hot girl he's been into the whole time, and he's unsatisfied. Suzanne, on the other hand, has been living a full life off-screen. The narrator did not see that coming. By depriving me of the right to feel sorry for her, Suzanne had taken her revenge. Similarly, the protagonist of La Collectionneuse believes his female flatmate is a floozy, and it takes him the whole film to realize she simply doesn't want to sleep with him. He runs away from her at the end, but only after the full film, assuming that she's been scheming to seduce him, which she isn't. Often, the epiphany is simply, I've been an idiot, and if you can't identify with that, oh, may the Lord help you. The very name Six Moral Tales is a typical Rohmer tongue-in-cheek title, since most of the protagonists in these movies are not moral in any normal sense of the word. They're all guys who spend a lot of time justifying their behavior, which makes me wonder about my other favorite films, which include some jerks as protagonists. Ferris Bueller, The Great Mouse Detective, Lawrence of Arabia, James Bond, The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, what do you mean? Darth Vader was not the hero in that film? The moral tales are the stories the heroes are telling themselves, not what we as an audience are meant to walk away with. Like, Darth Vader just wants to reunite with his son and overthrow an evil dictator. Is that so bad? He has to torture a few people along the way, so, that's the way it goes. This comparison probably seems a little flippant, but if there's something Rohmer excels at, it is giving us flawed heroes who only get the point after the end of the movie. With Darth Vader, it's a dad who spent the whole movie chasing his beloved son and ends up alienating the son because he doesn't understand what Luke wants. Oh, and he chops off Luke's hand. In the Six Moral Tales, it's usually a man agonizing between two women and the ideals that they represent to him, but often these ideals are projected. The women are quite different from what the protagonist imagines. Later Rohmer films, like Pauline on the Beach or Rayon d'Or, come at the same issues from a female perspective. Rohmer wrote his first 6 movies as short stories, and though his actors exhibit a comfortable spontaneity, the movies stay impressively close to the original texts. Rohmer was a late bloomer in the French Nouvelle Vague, having spent the beginnings of that movement writing for Le Cahiers du Cinéma, the most important movie magazine of all time, while Truffaut, Godard, and Rivette were reinventing what movies should be. When Rohmer finally jumped into filmmaking using his friends as cast and crew, he launched a prolific, decades-long career. The 6 Moral Tales make My Dinner with Andre look like The Fast and the Furious. They demand repeated watching, and they will make you talk afterwards. If you're on a dinner and a movie date and you choose a Rohmer movie, make sure you're ready for dinner and a movie, and then intense discussion over cocktails afterwards. These movies are not easy to digest. I enjoy a lot of the Nouvelle Vague classics. If Godard's Bande d'Apart and Pierrot le Fou and Rivette's Céline and Julie Go Boating and La Belle Noiseuse don't get reviews by me soon, I'll be a little shocked at myself. But unlike Godard, who's channeling an obsession with Hollywood and gangsters, or Rivette, who's trying to recreate literary history in every film that he makes, Eric Rohmer turns his simple little stories into essays, like a 1960s version of Spike Lee. People sit around and talk. The director presents all sides of a topic and then lets the viewer sort it out. The films also look gorgeous, which doesn't hurt. He casts quirky, mostly unknown at the time actors who look like everyday folks. You're never thinking, hey, there's Dwayne Johnson or Angelina Jolie. In Nouvelle Vague terms, I suppose that would be Belmondo and Brigitte Bardot. Instead, Haïdé and La Collectionneuse will for me always be Haïdé. Bertrand and Suzanne's career will always simply be Bertrand. These movies exist not in the glamorous world of the Cannes Film Festival, but in their own isolated little world, a world inside the protagonists' heads. The Six Moral Tales, which you can get in a great box set from Criterion with the original novel and book of essays included, make me long for France. French people, French countryside, French cityscapes, French beaches, French pastries, French conversations. Each movie could be summarized in a simple sentence. Guy stands somebody up for his dream girl. Guys exploit a plain girl. People sit up all night arguing. Guy thinks his roommate is into him. Guy obsesses about a girl's knee. Guy thinks about cheating. Yet so much happens during these simple stories. Eric Rohmer may not be for everyone, but if you want a snapshot about what's wonderful about France, you can't do better than these movies.